he is a darling of progressives. He's a darling of the left. And they were lobbying very hard for a progressive ticket with progressive in the number 1 and a progressive in the number 2 slot. That's exactly what they get.
Morning Joe is having a bit of a meltdown over Vice President Kamala Harris's VP selection of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. So now look, when she made that selection, I was actually quite surprised because I was actually pulling for him. Out of those available picks, Walz seemed to be the best. That is who a lot of progressives were pulling for. So, I mean, yes, Joe is right about that. Okay. Now, what he's wrong about is Walz being picked because he's a massive uber lefty. No. He's not going to push the socialism button. Okay. That said, Walz has presided over passing a lot of good policies in the law, and he has a lot of genuine Midwestern appeal. So, no, he's not some, like, pie-in-the-sky socialist, right? A super uber lefty. No, he's just passed good policies. Okay. He also doesn't really have any baggage. So far, the worst Republicans have come up with is a DUI from 35 years ago, which actually helped him to get sober. That's actually a bit of an uplifting story when you think about it. But no, as I laid out in a previous video, Walz passed a bunch of great policies while having a 1-seat majority in the state. He also signed into law strengthened abortion protections, paid family and medical leave policies, a new child tax credit for low-income parents. It's great. Signed a law restoring voting rights for the formerly incarcerated, automatic voter registration, pre-registration for teenagers, driver's license for undocumented immigrants, which again is making right-wing heads explode, background checks for private gun transfers and implementation of a red flag law, a $1 billion investment in affordable housing to combat homelessness, legalizing recreational marijuana, universal school meals, banning so-called gay conversion therapy, which is torture, it doesn't work, and expanded protections for transgender citizens. They also passed a bill mandating a carbon-free electric grid by 2040. And look, getting back to child poverty for a second, Minnesota, as a state, ended up cutting child poverty by 1/3. Huh. That's a lot of good stuff. Now, Walz isn't 100%, responsible for all the good stuff. Obviously, it had to get through Congress, the state house. And so, yes, there's a lot of great progressives in Minnesota's government. And when the people allowed them, voted for them, allowed them to take power, they were able to do a bunch of things. Now, Walz could have been like a corporate Democrat, right? And just vetoed all the good stuff, right? He could have done that. It's not like they haven't done that in other places where, yes, you technically have a Democratic governor, but they don't really get a whole lot of progressive things done. Walz didn't do that. Walz was like, oh, no, yeah, this sounds good. Yeah, feeding hungry children, yeah, let it go. He didn't block the left, okay? What he did is he governed with the left, alongside the left, to get good things done. That's the point. And by the way, even some Republicans crossed the aisle to vote in favor of things in Minnesota, like, for example, increasing funding for nursing homes without having to cut taxes for the rich. They used part of that surplus that they had in the budget in order to, increase funding for nursing homes and staff. So that's great. That's great. That said, the real issue when it comes to Tim Walz, in the minds of people like Joe Scarborough, is, but what if he decides not to help the rich?
I can't even begin to imagine what the business community is going to think about a progressive. That's the governor's house.
I can tell you already. I'm literally.
But Andrew, yeah, go ahead.
I'm literally texting with a number of CEOs right now, and not to say that CEOs are an arbiter of anything, but the business community, as you just said, I think was hoping, maybe hoping against hope, that the governor of Pennsylvania would be the vice presidential pick, and that was going to be a larger indicator or signal about how Vice President Harris would govern as president, potentially moving more towards the center as opposed to moving more towards the left. Clearly, it appears at least that this pick, at least in the eyes of the business community, is a signal that, in fact, she may want to govern more from a progressive left standpoint.
Oh my God! You know, look, I've been texting all my rich friends, and they wanted Shapiro, and now it looks as though Harris might actually govern from the left. Oh God!
Oh no!
Look, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Harris and Walz. Okay, what kind of progressive policies, if any, they're going to put forward. Okay, and again, let's be honest, right? But here's what Walz did in Minnesota for the business community. He actually made it the 5th best state to do business in. Yes, that's right. The 5th best state. That was in 2023. 2024, it actually dropped to the 6th best state for business. Now, that said, Minnesota scored highest in the quality of life and infrastructure categories, making it the 4th and 5th in the nation, respectively. So, yes, good for business, good for quality of life, infrastructure. That's awesome. By the way, the top 5 ranking on infrastructure is in part a testament to Minnesota's $2.5 billion 10-year program to fix roads and bridges, okay, in the wake of the I-35W bridge collapse. In fact, CNBC noted that today Minnesota roads and bridges are among the best in the nation, and the state is not resting on its laurels. In May, Governor Tim Walz signed a $1.3 billion transportation budget that includes not just funding to maintain roads and bridges, but also money for public transit projects. So, yeah, likely we're going to see more of a direction, well, more of a move in that direction, which is good. So here's the thing. Minnesota, actually a great place to live and do business thanks to progressive economic policy. Okay. Now, that said, in order to, get it to be a great place to do business and to have good infrastructure and a higher quality of life, that means you have to pay taxes. That means businesses especially are going to have to pay their fair share. CEOs are going to have to pay their fair share. Okay. And well, that means businesses that don't want to pay their fair share are not going to be happy about this. And they're not. Now, another point for Walz over Shapiro is the fact that Shapiro wanted to cut corporate taxes and do more fracking. Okay. Walz, during his time as governor, signed bills that raised corporate taxes, and used that money in order to pay for 12 weeks of medical and family leave. Oh, well, there you go. In fact, in 2021, Walz had a tax plan that would create a 5th income tax tier for married couples earning more than $1 million. Yeah, that's right. So it would be a higher marginal tax rate on rich people. It would also have created a higher tax rate on capital gains. 1% of the profits on the sale was between $500,000 and $1 million. 4% if more than $1 million. So capital gains tax, great. And again, increase the state's corporate income tax rate, which is currently about 9%, I believe. And not only that, but in 2023, since they had quite a big surplus in the budget, they sent out rebate checks, the Walz checks, okay? That legislation, which was signed again by the governor in May, provided payments to eligible Minnesotans of up to $1,300, basically $520 for married couples filing a joint 2021 income or property tax return with an AGI of $150,000 or less, $260 for all other individuals with a 2021 adjusted gross income of $75,000 or less, and another $260 for each dependent, up to 3 dependents. Children, not bad. Not bad. That's nice. Giving a little bit of that surplus back to average working people are going to spend it. It's good for the economy. Now, that said, if you were Joe Scarborough, I can see why you'd be getting a little nervous over Tim Walz. Oh, money going to poor people. Oh no. Oh, boy.
Can't let that happen.
Not only that, but look, Walz is actually also pretty anti-war. You look up his record, pretty good. Walz played a significant role in pushing back against the new war in Syria back in 2013 and 2016 during both of the major pushes for U.S. involvement in that country. Walz also co-sponsored all three of the Yemen war power resolutions and even co-sponsored a bill opposing the U.S.-backed coup in Honduras. He also backed the Iran deal, which was good before Trump ripped it up, and also opposed Donald Trump's Cuba policy. So, yeah, it's a good bet that he's going to try to make sure that there is peace in the Middle East. I don't know if he'd be in favor of aiding Israel if they decide to attack Iran or Lebanon or start a war. Okay? And so far on Gaza, he's called a ceasefire on Gaza. He also said that anti-war students need to be listened to, as opposed to Josh Shapiro, who called anti-war students the KKK. So, yeah. I think there's a little bit of hope on Gaza. We're going to have to see about that. I am cautiously optimistic. Overall, though, I think great pick by Harris and is an actual bridge to progressives. Somebody who is, got folksy a Midwestern appeal, great communication skills, and a record of good policy accomplishments that he's going to bring to the White House. Now, a bonus about Walz is look at the reaction from the Democratic consultants, the Joe Scarboroughs of the world, and the right-wingers. They're all currently seething. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.